Shalom. I'd like to start out by giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is Thamayim in Atlanta, and these little shorts on red pill stuff, manosphere stuff, keep coming up on my feed. And every now and then I'll watch one or two, a couple of them. And it just hit me today how these are all archives of women's wickedness. It's not just this site, there are tons of different pages that just interview these women or tell you about these women, tell you about their nature, or go through stories on women's wickedness. And you see it within society. Our divorce rate is, it's past 50%, and typically it's the woman who is actually initiating the divorce. They say it's anywhere from 70 to 80%. And the more highly educated the woman is it increases the chances of a divorce. And so when you come back and you look at it, this is a society destroyer. This destroys civilizations, because the foundation of a civilization or society is the family unit, and that's where a man and woman get together, they have children, and the children are reared up within the morals of that society. And the one that's typically doing that is the woman. But they're initiating divorce or not even getting married and raising up these children on their own. And these children have a statistically much higher chance of ending up in jail or becoming teen parents, or various other things, just becoming bad, poor contributors to society. But these women do not see this, and they refuse to see this, and they have everything to say about it, and it's not their fault. They will argue their way up and down about how it's not their fault, and they've been blaming it on men for years and years. But the men are wising up. They are really learning the nature, not just Israelite men, but men in general are seeing the nature of women. They're understanding hypergamy. They're understanding that women are flighty. They're understanding that women will just argue with them on non-issues and all these things. And it's just, at this point, I'm kind of numb to it. But I do keep seeing these videos come up, and I'm actually happy to see men waking up, because it sucks. This is not the way society is supposed to be ran. It's just not the way that men are supposed to be, nor women. We're actually supposed to work together and build, but their behavior is making that nearly impossible. And there are good women out there, or to an extent good women, that are trying to be better. But for the most part, these women they're toxic, and they've got the nerve to actually call men toxic, which, yes, men are bad themselves, but a lot of this is initiated by the doctrine of feminism, which feminism was brought forth from communism. And one of the tenets of communism is to destroy the family. So they use feminism as a tool to destroy the family. And so they elevated the woman above the man, made all these laws to hold men back, and laws to elevate the woman. And with this, it actually it breaks down families. And it gets the woman out of the house to where she has to pay taxes. So they actually got to double the amount of taxpayers, and at the same time got to free up the children from the woman who's supposed to be their first educator, but are able to, since she has to go to work, they can indoctrinate the children into more communism and more feminism and more of these just diverse philosophies that are actually negatively affect people and affect society, because they want to collapse society so that they can rebuild in their image. And this is the elite that I'm speaking of. But these all these clips and videos, it's just archives of women's wickedness and how they think, and it's really not any thought at all. It's just their way or the highway, pretty much. And they will argue you on things that are actually logically sound, but for them it's just their feelings and their emotions, and they want what they want, and they want to have control over men, and they want to have multiple men, and they put men into different categories and categorize them and use them as different utilities, which I was thinking about in the book of Revelation. It says, it's speaking of the Edomites, but it says the accuser of our brethren is cast down. But if you notice, the women in Esau have very similar mindsets. They both refuse to take accountability for their actions. They think they've done no wrong, no wickedness, and they're just very similar. And their downfalls both come at the same time. When Esau's kingdom falls, all of this feminism and girl power completely ends. But in Revelation, where it says the accuser of our brethren is cast down, the accuser, that word, it's kategoreo in the Greek, and that's where you get the word to categorize, and that's what women do to men. They put them in these different boxes. Like there's a man to pay their bills. They have a man to pay their bills. They'll have a man to blow their back out. They'll have a man that they can just talk to and express their feelings, and they have different men for different jobs, and it's just kind of funny to me that those go hand in hand. But we're at the end of this, because you can tell these women they're being exposed. Their nature is being exposed, and at the bottom of it, it's just they shouldn't have all of these privileges that they have with no accountability for them. They get less jail time than men for anything, any crime. It could be the same crime. A man could commit the same crime, but they'll get much less jail time. This is a statistic you can easily look up. They commit paternity fraud, and I've seen different statistics on that, like to where it's like 40% of men that are paying child support, it's for a child that's not even theirs. You could look up the different statistics on that, and just seeing all this social media post, it's exposing them at this point, and it's exposing the reasons and showing men why you can't just let women run freely. They have to be under a certain order, and we're all out of order, but a lot of this stems from women. As it says, actually, we'll get that one first in Sirach. Where is it? There it is. It's the book of Sirach 25 and 24. Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to get abroad. And this society completely lets women travel, or not just travel, but just really do what they will. And there's no accountability to it for their actions. And the beginning of sin, if you look at the communism, pushing feminism was one of the first things they did. They got the women behind them. And once they got the women behind them, they were able to use them for their means of breaking down the families, put to indoctrinate children more, and then to push their other ideas like the alphabet community. There's a lot of women that came to the support of alphabets, and they keep using them for these different groups and for these different philosophies that they push out there, because women just they take on to whatever is going to make them sound good in public, even though it makes no sense. They'll keep pushing it over and over and over again. It says, of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. And that's originally going back to Eve eating the fruit. But this is we're living in that blessing right now. And this takeover that is happening, this collapse of society, it began with the woman. And they refuse to take any accountability to the collapse of families and the eventual collapse of society. And I'm going to go back to that Matthew, because a lot of this behavior increased exponentially with the creation of social media. And through social media, they have pretty much aired out all of their thoughts and words and body parts. But as I was saying earlier, these are documents and archives of how they are. And it can be used now to wake up men, but it could also be used in the future, which the Israelites will be all right once the second covenant comes in, and will have the law, statutes, and commandments written within us. But we're still going to have to teach the heathen nations, and these things can be used to show them, because it does sounds like a good idea to let women be equal with men, but it's not. But going back to the social media thing and how they're airing out all of their stuff. This is Matthew 12:36. But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, and this includes women too, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. For by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. And from showing off their bodies and showing off their strange philosophies, they are leading not only themselves astray, but men, because there's these simp men that just chase after women, because it's a natural desire for a man to want to be with a woman and to get women, but they're using all of their privilege that they've been given through law and through social norms against men, and it's actually working out to be against society. It's just leading silly women astray. This is let's get Ephesians. Actually, let's get 2 Timothy 3:6. For this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts. And this, if you think of it as doctrines, like the doctrine of feminism and letting women just run rampant. That's what this doctrine has done. It's crept into houses, and it's taken hold of men's daughters and their wives, and it's led them captive because they are completely, this is ingrained in them. Even the ones that say they're not feminists, they have these certain principles stuck within them from feminism that actually makes them wicked. It says, and led captive silly women laden with sins, led away with diverse lust. And these women are lustful. Well, let's go back to Ephesians. Oops. 4 and 14. It says, that we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, carried about with every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of men, and cunning craftiness whereby they lie in wait to deceive. And this, what's happened, it's a giant deception. They can't tell that this is actually breaking apart families. It's actually making men not see them for anything other than just sex. And there's even groups of men that are trying to leave the country because of how out of order women are. They're the passport bros. I'm sure you've probably heard of them. But it's there's one part of these women that they've tried to become little men, and they try to advance up in their careers, putting careers over their families, which the career is actually for men. That's a something that was attractive to women, for a man to be a high earner. But women jumped into the job market, and that actually stalled out salaries because there's extra workers. And so when there are extra workers, you don't have to raise your salaries at all. You just leave them the same, or even decrease them, because you have this influx of workers. So this is Sirach 25 and 24. Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. Give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gad abroad. And they've given, in the society, which is completely backwards, they've just given women the ability to join any career, join any job, do OnlyFans, do whatever they want. And it's turned men off at this point. Yeah, there's still some simps out there that are paying for these things, but in general, this is the beginning of sin. Slovakia. And then I want to go to just close this out, Proverbs 30 and 20, because I spoke on the just complete lack of accountability. It says, such is the way of an adulterous woman. She eateth and wipeth her mouth, and saith, I have done no wickedness. Because they do not take any accountability for their actions. They'll bring in an heir from another and really not even bat an eye over it. It's just within their nature to do that. And that's why in the past, men have not allowed women to roam free like this, because it breaks down society, breaks down families. It's a disturbance of peace. And then we've got Proverbs 9 and 13. A foolish woman is clamorous, she is simple, and knoweth nothing. And these women will argue especially for their feminism and for them to have the right to, you know, bang a bunch of dudes and to do whatever they want, whatever wickedness they want to. But it's really simple, or they are simple, and their arguments for doing this are simple, and it's destroying them. They're made to have one man their whole life until that man dies. But these women have body counts that are through the roof, way over your average man. And they have, and then once they lose their youth and beauty, they get tossed aside and expect to go marry up a man, but they have no idea why a man doesn't want to marry them, or why that's even wrong to put that on a man, put their 100 bodies and all their baggage, their mental baggage that comes with it, and just the mileage that comes with it. They can't even see that that's a wrong. And then they think of us as equals, so they don't even want men to have multiple women, even though our biology, it makes sense when we produce millions of sperm cells every day and they only have a limited amount of eggs. They can't, their simplicity will not let them see this. But as it says, a foolish woman is clamorous. And so they will argue up and down that they deserve every right of a man, but it just doesn't work out that way. Why would a man take care of a woman that thinks she's a man? It's just not it. The Lord created balance. 2 and 2. You got the dominant one and then the submissive one. And it says the head of the woman is the man. The head of the man is Hamashiach, Yahushai. The head of Yahushai is Yahweh, the Father. And there's just order. And these women refuse to see order. And it's to a point where men are seeing it and eventually are going to turn very cold to all of these things. But as I was saying earlier, this is an archive of women's wickedness, and it's going to be there to be seen forever and ever. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful that the Lord is exposing women, and at the same time he is exposing Esau, both of them being exposed for their wickedness, and they both have a tremendous downfall coming up in the future. Except women, excluding the Edomite woman, women will be taken care of. Our Israelite women will be taken care of in the kingdom, and as well as the women of the other nations that become concubines, they'll be taken care of. Some of the others will have to be just there to breed back the other heathen, but the ones that are actually born back into the kingdom and become concubines, they'll be taken care of too. They will be, everyone and everything will be put back into its correct order, and that's men above women, even though they can't seem to see it. Some of them are waking up though. But with that, Lord willing, that was edifying. I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakach Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone, and shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.